dear God, I'm all alone. Won't you send my children home? Won't you touch their hearts and make them understand? I know they're busy as can be with their homes and family, but won't you ask the children, Lord, to visit me? It's a sad, heartbreaking, lonely picture of a mother just waiting to die, all alone without her children. Surely God will hear her prayer. Oh dear God, I'm all alone. Won't you send my children home? Won't you touch their hearts and make them understand? I know they're busy as can be with their homes and family, but won't you ask the children, Lord, to visit me? I know they're busy as can be with their homes and family, but won't you ask the children, Lord, to visit me?
Wow. I cannot think of a more appropriate song to open with than that song, because today my mind, your mind, everybody's mind is going back to the hills of the Carolinas. It is going back to the hills of Tennessee. It is going to the heart of Florida, because once again we have destruction on its way to our shores, and we are still praying and praying and praying for any survivors to be found in the Carolinas. And today we're going to share some things with you. We're going to share some things that made me angry, made me very, very mad. And yeah, if I'd have been up there around somebody, I'd have probably smacked him and somebody had to sign my bond, because there were so many volunteers. God's people joined together, and God's people were trying to beat the evil in the world. And so God's people just took it on their own, and their churches, their cities, their communities, their little tiny towns gathered trailers and trailers full of things to take up there. And then they got there and there was opposition from our government. Can y'all imagine that? Yeah, you can imagine it, because you know what kind of state our government's in. And it just broke my heart. And I watched story after story after story. But I got really, really angry when I saw a couple where you have to think about volunteers. The first day it was 50 helicopters were there volunteering. These are privately owned helicopters with privately run pilots who are licensed and permitted, and were called to duty by other friends who said, hey, I've got my helicopter up here and we are rescuing people after people after people, and we need help. So all these volunteers took their helicopters, their fuel, their money, and went to help others. Once again, God's people helping God's people. The government gets in the way. And so one of the helicopters was told, after he rescued a wife and then was going back for the husband on a very rough area, they said, if you do that, we will arrest you. You have no paperwork and no authority here. Are you kidding me? He's just rescued one life and he's going back to get another one, and we're going to show you the story on that in a little bit. But that angered me. There's so many things about what has happened the last 12 days that make you really, really angry. And we're going to share some photos today. We're going to share some good photos. We're going to share some sad photos, and we're going to share one that I think is going to bless your heart, because I know how much y'all love Xana. And this, we want to remind you, the Georgia Mountain Fall Festival will be this weekend, October the 11th through the 13th, and then next weekend, the 17th through the 19th. And we want to get you out and spend some time forgetting about all the problems around us, because there are so many problems around us. Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, So many problems, and there you go. Some family farms were completely annihilated. They lost their greenhouse, they lost their chicken houses, they lost their fields, they lost everything. These people lost everything, and the government, and I'm not saying that name because you know I don't like it, shows up and says, we're going to give you $700. Well, one young woman with 2 children applied, and they told her she only qualified for $300. She just lost everything she owned. So yeah, I'm a little bit hot to trot today. I'm madder than the devil. But we got to get together, and we got to bring goodness. God's people will get together, and God's people will make a difference. God's people can get together at Kimsey Ridge Fall Festival, and you can help raise money to finish this amazing, amazing project that is a beautiful place. We had the singing there this year. They've had it there several years, and this was the first year we got to record it and have it here for you on ETC, and we share that all the time, and I know it's been blessing your hearts. All we can do is bless each other because we don't have any help from the government. Sorry, but that's the truth. And Granny says the truth will always stand. Well, the truth is standing now. We are seeing the difference. So you know your community can get together and your community can make a difference. Now, this is what they're facing in the Carolinas. I watched a special last night, and I was just, I just kept sitting there boo-hooing, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, how did they survive this? How did they survive? Many miracles have come out of this, and many have survived that shouldn't have, from a very, very young baby, a child that was born during this time. There have been so many amazing stories of good people showing up to help people. And then there's the, you know, we get the government showing up in our face and won't let us help. But is that not sweet? And that's to commemorate, yesterday was the 9th anniversary of 2 dear, dear, dear friends, and for their 9th anniversary, they took me out to eat, bought me a present. So I don't know how I got to qualify for that, but it was really cool. So Sandra and Rusty, I love you, I love you, I love you. Happy, happy anniversary, 9 years, and they're so precious, and I love them so much. So happy anniversary. Now, we are still proud to be an American, although our government is acting like a bunch of nuts, and they're just running around scratching their head. And I would say something mean, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to say they're just scratching their head and don't know what to do. They just don't know what to do because they don't have the knowledge. They don't have the fortitude. They don't know who to call. I tell you who you call. You call Elon Musk, and he brings Starlink, and you will get to see Ivanka Trump as she is out distributing Starlink in the mountains of the Carolinas. That has been their only saving grace to get connection to the outer world. So thank God that Donald Trump picked up the phone and called Elon Musk. Now there's Ingalls, and they have been staging trucks and trucks and trucks in the parking lot of that Ingalls. That's one of many Ingalls that was affected by the storm. But the great thing about this is Ingalls was really affected hardly, but at the same time they are bagging bags and bags and bags of groceries and distributing to their neighbors up in the mountains. So again, God's people, helping God's people. That's what we do. And I think it's so much easier to help each other than to pick up the phone and call the government, because once you get the government involved, it's red tape and this and this and this and a bunch of mush, and it's just yuck. So now, y'all, I want you to go to the Downtown Ball Ground Facebook page, and I want you to please vote for our scarecrow. All you have to do is like it, and that counts as a vote. If you'll like it and share it, then that would be really, really nice, because Evelyn worked really hard on that. I worked really hard to go find the coat that he's wearing, and that's all I did. Evelyn did everything else. So, but she made the sweetest bunch of little fellers there, and they're just so cute, and we want to win. This is the year that we want to win. So go to the Downtown Ball Ground Facebook page, and you can vote for the scarecrows. And if you see somebody else's you like, you can vote for it too, but I'd just soon you just vote for ours. So that is, she worked really hard. And this shows my little Trumpy bear. That's what I got for my present yesterday. Rusty and Sandra got to celebrate their anniversary, and I got to get a present, so I think that's pretty cool. I thought it was really cool. So there's my anniversary present. So yay, it's so sweet, so sweet, so sweet. And, you know, it is all about the red, white, and blue. I wore red, white, and blue today because I want to encourage us to celebrate. Look at that. That is the reason I'm so politically conservative. I'm so politically crazy about how we're going to change our world. That little girl, she and Riker are the next generation. The rest of us, we're old and we're going to be gone to be with Jesus. But those will be left behind. And when they are, we better get things in order, because right now they are certainly not in order. They're in a big mush. They're just in a big old bucket of slop, and it is a mess. So now that lady, that's the one that somebody might have to sign my bond if I was anywhere around her, because I'd tell her, lady, you just let people show up and you let them help. And we're going to share a video. We talked about this yesterday. You know, Ball Ground had this idea. Several of our local businesses got together and said, hey, do y'all want to fill up some trailers? Sure, 9 trailers later, they take them all up to North Carolina, and it fills up a whole church. That's the key, people. Don't go to FEMA. Don't deal with FEMA, because FEMA's probably going to turn you down like they did the young lady who applied for a $750 benefit, and she was approved for $300. Excuse me? I'd be having a fit right now. So she lost everything. Now this is Chris Rumfeld from up at the First Free Will Baptist Church. They fed 800 meals yesterday. That's what God's people do. God's people get together, do the work, don't expect any praise for it, and they stay the dickens away from the government, because if you get involved in the government, the people will be sitting there starving to death while you waited on them. You see that picture? That tells it all. You go to the church, you donate through the church, you take your stuff to the churches, you get involved with church, because when church folks show up, everybody gets fed, everybody gets clothed, and everybody gets some groceries in their pantry. That's what it's all about. So see my red, white, and blue? It matches my Trumpy bear. Is that not sweet? That's my present. That's my present for being a good girl and not smacking anybody and being in jail today, because I've gotten so mad about this stuff. Things have not been handled correctly. And too little, too late, too lackadaisy, just duh. You know, I'm at the beach, I'm at a party, I don't have time to fool with it. And then God's people show up. And you saw it with First Free Will. You saw it with our local churches. Ebenezer Church from here in Ellijay took tons of stuff. That's what church people do. Vicki Thompson loaded up load after load after load. She didn't ask anybody, and she didn't say, hey, FEMA, can I bring this stuff? She did what she was commanded to do in the Bible. That's what we do. We don't ask these people. We go and do His work. That's what it's about. That's what's going to save these people. Now, speaking of saving the people, I shared something last night that broke my heart. But it came from, it's very interesting, a lady who owns several funeral homes was sharing a story of what's going on. There are many more fatalities that have been told. There are numbers that are way above what the estimates were. There are numbers of people who will not be rescued because the condition of many of the people who were taken are not good and may not be identifiable, may be covered in mud. It's been a really tough time. Can you imagine being a mortician, an undertaker, owning a funeral home at this time in the Carolinas? This is a tough time. You're going to be identifying your friends, your neighbors. It is something like, we haven't seen this. They said that Katrina was worse, but I have this terrible feeling that once all is said and done, Helene will win the trophy for being the worst to ever hit U.S. soil. And you know what's so great about that storm hitting? It hit a place where people are strong and firm in their faith, and they are holding on. And we saw that when we saw people show up on the 8th day, and a little old lady said, you're the first person I've seen in 8 days. She had no power, no water. She didn't know how she was going to make it, but somebody showed up, and it was a volunteer helicopter pilot. That's what's going to get us through this, because Appalachia was hit really, really hard. Appalachia is full of strength of God's people who know how to work the land, how to make do for themselves, and thank God they jumped in and they're helping each other. So we're going to show a video of Brett Holcomb and his crew when they were delivering the goods up to the church. And you know, in Ball Ground, everybody was filling the trailers and everybody was excited about getting to do that, to be a part of this event and to just make a little bit of difference. And then when you see it delivered and you see that shelf after shelf after shelf and aisle after aisle in this church are just full. They're absolutely full of things that the Ball Ground community got together. And that's what happens. God's people work to help God's people. And when you do that, you see, you know, you hook up with a church. You don't hook up with somebody who says, well, let me get you approved. Let me get this, let me get that, or let me turn you down. We don't want to hear we're going to get turned down, because when you've done God's work, you expect somebody to get the benefits of your labor. And that's where we failed, because there were people who said that they went up there with tractor trailer loads, they went up there with 20-foot trailer loads, and FEMA said, no, you're not authorized to do this. Well, stay the heck away from FEMA and do what you know God would want you to do. That's what you do. Now, speaking of God, yesterday you got to meet my friends who actually, they are Ellijay residents, Florida residents, and Michigan residents. But they love Ellijay, I think, the best. And I love Jackie and Kent. They are going to be at Carter K Baptist Church for the next few months, directing the music and having a great time with them. And so they left us some music we're going to share with y'all today. We're going to share some of this. But I have some announcements that I need to get. And one of them, I had to write it in big letters so I could read the phone numbers. We all love the Christmas parade up in Copper Hill in McKaysville. We love it. We've been part of it for years and have enjoyed being up there, seeing your smiling faces. We need some volunteers. If they don't get volunteers, then we're going to have a problem having this parade. So they are down to 4 Kiwanis members. This club has been in operation for over 100 years, and when you think about it, they're down to 4 members. That means that you young folks are not stepping up to the plate like you should. So I'm going to give you 2 phone numbers to call. One of them is Howard, and it's 706-851-5485. The other one is Anthony, and it's 678-322-6455. If you would like to see the parade happen, if you would like to be a part of the volunteers, if you would like to even consider joining the Kiwanis, you need to get involved and pick up the phone and call either of those 2 gentlemen. I know that the town looks forward to that parade. It's always a good one. It's a long one. It's a lot of fun. It's usually cold, but it's really, really fun. So don't forget that. Pick up the phone and call them. And on the 13th of October, which I believe is this Saturday, 6 p.m. at Sugar Creek Baptist, there's going to be a gospel singing starting at 6 o'clock. And if you need more information, call 706-632-2560. And it's for you to come out and enjoy a great gospel concert. So that's what we do. Now, we're all learning about, you know, I've been in a hurricane because we lived in Florida when hurricanes hit. I've been through a tornado because I lived in Georgia when tornadoes hit. But I learned something yesterday that I thought, well, that just makes sense. There's one place in your house where if you want to put photo albums, if you want to put maybe your checks, checkbooks, a deed to your house, whatever, if you happen to have it in your home and you're worried to death that your house is going to get blown away, excuse me, then you take your stuff. This sounds crazy. Y'all going to think I'm nuts. Open your dishwasher and put it in your dishwasher and close your dishwasher because it seals, it's watertight. Do not hit the I started to say the play button. Do not hit the on button or you'll be washing all your stuff. Just close it and let it seal, and then if you were to, sadly, the roof fall off and you get water in your kitchen, or even if it blew away, you can do that. So that is what is really cool. If you put your stuff in your dishwasher, the dishwasher seals tightly. It seals tightly because it's meant to keep water in. Well, this way you protect your stuff and keep water out. Is that pretty cool? I think that's a pretty good idea. So Now we're going to take you to, what are we going to do now, Trace?
I've got the Ivanka video.
Okay, we're going to show you. This is Ivanka Trump as she, now remember, there was a phone call. Donald Trump called Elon Musk, and if you don't know anything about Starlink, it is satellite that gets you, no matter where you are, in all kinds of crazy places in the world. You can get Wi-Fi, you can get cell connection, and you can contact the outside world. That has been part of the problem in the mountains of the Carolinas. There are places that they tell me still will not be reached for days, even though we have helicopter pilots that are up there working really, really hard against the will of FEMA. They have finally brought in some soldiers. First thing I said on Facebook, I said, listen here, people, we got military all over North Carolina. Why hasn't the military been called in? And somebody told me it's because soldiers don't normally react. Usually it's National Guard, that the soldiers on base don't normally react to this. And I said, at this point in time, I don't care who reacts, but somebody better react because they didn't do enough reacting soon enough. But we're going to show Ivanka as she was in the Carolinas distributing the Starlink, which made a huge difference for people being able to reach their neighbors, reach their family, and say, hey, we survived, we're okay. Here we go.
I couldn't get 20 of them on the flight because, bro.
Before we begin, I want to send our love to the millions of people who are still suffering from the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Yesterday I was in Georgia to survey the terrible damage from the storm. It was terrible. And Georgia was hit very, very hard. They're doing a great job. Governor's doing a great job. Everybody, they're all working together. And we helped them out a little bit. In North Carolina, the biggest problem seems to be like zero communication. The poles are all down, the wires are all down. And they asked me whether or not I could help with Starlink. It's another genius concept of Elon Musk. And I called Elon, and they were having a hard time getting it. It's a hot thing. And Elon immediately got involved.
You know what? That's what it's about. God's people getting up, doing for others. That's what it is. And the Bible commands us to do that. So maybe we should be reading the Bible and looking for a verse that says, hey, just ignore the government and go do what you ought to. I'm sure there's a verse in there about that. Yesterday, y'all got to meet my buddies. They hadn't been on in a while, and again, they travel all the time. They do concerts in 3 different states while they're traveling and doing their thing, and then they record. So we have some music today we're going to share with y'all, and this is Greatly Blessed, Blended Heart, and their story is amazing because you never know where God's path is going to take you. And they have a beautiful property up in Michigan where they have singings in the summer and just beautiful places to have the singing. They have hundreds and hundreds of people who come. And then they come to Georgia, and then they go to Florida. So, you know how some people have a winter home, a summer home. They have a winter, spring, and summer home. They travel in different things, and they're also ministering during their travels. So that's what it's all about. We're going to share a little bit of their music. They write some of what they do, and then they record other folks' stuff too. So just sit back and enjoy. We're going to hear one song from them, then we're going to take a commercial break, and then more music when we come back.
One day when heaven was filled with his praises, one day when sin was as black as could be, Jesus came forth to be born of a virgin, dwelt among men, my example is he. Word became flesh and the light shined among us, his glory revealed. Living he loved me, dying he saved me, buried he carried my sins far away, rising he justified freely forever. One day he's coming, oh glorious day, oh glorious day. One day they led him up Calvary's mountain, one day they nailed him to die on a tree, suffering anguish, despised and rejected, bearing our sins, my Redeemer is he. Hands that healed nations stretched out on a tree, and took the nails for me. Living he loved me, dying he saved me, buried he carried my sins far away, rising he justified freely forever. One day he's coming, oh glorious day, oh glorious day.
One day the grave could conceal him no longer. One day the stone rolled away from the door. Then he arose, over death he had conquered. Now he's ascended, my Lord evermore.
Death could not hold him, the grave could not keep him from rising again. Living he loved me, dying he saved me, buried he carried my sins far away, rising he justified freely forever. One day he's coming, oh glorious day, oh glorious day, oh glorious day. One day the trumpet will sound for his coming. One day the skies with his glory My Savior Jesus is mine. Living, he loved me. Dying, he saved me. Buried, he carried my sins far away. Rising, he justified freely forever. One day he's coming, oh glorious day, oh glorious day, oh glorious day, oh glorious day.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time, and delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Elmer loves to giggle. Elmer's mommy taught him that laughing can help when you have a big feeling, like when you feel happy. Make sure to celebrate when you're happy and laugh it out. Love your mind.
He's loose. He's across the 40 to the 50. It's a foot race to the end zone.
Keep it. He's got a little bit of running room. Hops over a defender, picks up the first down.
There he goes up the middle. He'll be cut down at the 20.
Is into the end zone for a Fannin Rebel score.
Catches it in stride. He'll go to the end zone.
Breaks the tackle. Touchdown.
Y'all come by and see us anytime you can.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
Okay, I want to remind y'all, on October the 10th, Thursday afternoon, the carnival rides open at 5 o'clock at the Georgia Mountain Fairgrounds, and on the 11th, the Pioneer Village Arts and Crafts and Exhibit Hall open. Carnival rides are also open, and a concert that night by Dylan Scott. And then Saturday the 12th, Pioneer Village Arts and Crafts Exhibit Hall is open, carnival rides, and Joe Nichols concert. And on the 13th, this is always one of my favorite days because they have a church service at the fairgrounds, and it's really cool. You have the Pioneer Village Arts and Crafts, all the exhibits are open, carnival rides, and you have the Lefevre Quartet in Gold City. So that's going to be great gospel music. And again, that is on Sunday the 13th, so be a part of that. We're going to share a little something about the Georgia Mountain Fair area because we interviewed Ellijay and we really, really liked him. But I want to share a Bible verse first. And I think in today's world, as we are facing what we're facing, we're battling our own government, our own country. And at the same time, we remember there have been many, many battles before us. The Bible says, "Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering, yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed. We all, like sheep, have gone astray. Each of us has turned to our own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all." And that is Isaiah 53, 4 through 6. "Greater love has no one than someone lay down his life for his friends." John 15:13, amazing love and amazing grace. In the rescue efforts in the Carolinas, we've had a couple of linemen who lost their life. We have had a couple of people who came very close to losing their lives. We have had so many people who volunteered because they love the Lord, and they love you, and they love each other. And that is what, even in the hardest, the worst times ever, we see goodness. And so as we look around us, we have to see goodness. We have to maybe for a little break, go up to the Georgia Mountain Fair, enjoy the afternoon, enjoy the day, and let's try to take the hard things that are happening around us and take it out of our mind for a little bit and just enjoy some time. There's nowhere any better to enjoy time than on Lake Chateau. And we were lucky enough to spend some time on the lake with a very, very special young man that I would love to adopt. He's just the sweetest kid, and we're going to share a little of our visit with Eli, and then we'll come back to some more music. Welcome to beautiful, beautiful Lake Chateau, and we would love to introduce you to our driver, and our driver is...
My name is Ellijay Phillips.
And Ellijay Phillips is not only a boat driver, he is a pilot. So are you going to take us up in a plane next time?
Let's do it.
Oh my gosh, I've never been in a little plane. I don't know about that, Eli. We'll have to think about that. Thank you for everything today. Now you work, and tell me a little bit about your job and your company.
So I work at a marina on this lake called Lake Chateau Marina, and we're actually on one of our rental boats right now, and we mainly rent boats. We also sell them, and we store them and have wet slips on the dock and put them in, and we also sell gas on the lake. So we are always busy doing something.
Did the boys are y'all enjoying this just a little bit? Are y'all thinking maybe this is the most spoiled we've ever been?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Trace is chowing down on KFC, and we might say we had to fight to get that chicken because the place was crowded and understaffed, and Lord have mercy, we're so proud of it, and Colonel Sanders is so proud we got it. But you know, when we think about, we're only, an hour and 40 minutes from Atlanta?
Yeah, hour 40, 2 hours of traffic.
Yeah. Why don't people come here instead of going to Florida? For goodness gracious, this is peace, it's calm, it's absolutely refreshingly beautiful. Why would you go to Florida?
I don't know.
They ain't using their brain.
No, they ain't.
There's the answer. There's the answer. Yep. Y'all ain't using your brains. This lake, what'd you tell me, 7,000 acres?
That's right.
7,000 acres, and it fronts Georgia and North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful atmosphere. This is on a Monday, y'all. You can come Monday through Thursday. You can rent one of these beautiful pontoons, bring your family, hang out, enjoy every single moment of the peace and quiet of this lake. You know the one thing I haven't heard here, and this is unusual, I don't hear any birds chirping. Do you normally hear birds chirping?
In the mornings.
In the mornings, okay. Now you live on the lake.
I do.
Yeah, so tell us how great lake life is.
It's fantastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Trace, how's chicken life?
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I love KFC.
He loves KFC. We could not do this. We could not show up on this beautiful pontoon without a picnic from KFC. You know, when we look at how people are spending their lives, and everybody's so stressed and so worried about the economy and so worried about the election, worried about all these things, when literally you can put all that aside and you can come to Lake Chateau, rent a boat, rent a cabin, stay 4 days, and you go back to work refreshed. Mm-hmm. Absolutely refreshed. Now, if people want to get in touch with y'all, how far in advance do they need to rent a boat?
So that all depends. Weekends are usually a little busier, so you probably have to rent a couple days in advance. If we have availability, you can walk onto the dock and do the paperwork and get on the boat the same day. But you can rent. We have rentals 3 months in advance. So just, I mean, the earlier the better to a certain extent. But if you just decided you were going to come up here and rent a boat one day, that is definitely possible.
Yeah. And you are located right across the street from the Georgia Mountain Fair.
We are.
And that's why we're here, because we are celebrating the almost 75th anniversary of the Georgia Mountain Fair. And when we think about the many, many times I've been here, I hate to admit this is the first time I've ever been on this water. I've always taken photos of the lake behind the campgrounds, and we've always said, oh, that looks cool, it looks like fun, but we never took the time to do it. We need to tell people, just take a day. This would be a daycation. If you live in Atlanta, you could leave at 6 o'clock in the morning, be up here by 9, get your boat, go out and spend the day, and have a daycation. And be back in your own bed that night. So, you know, hey, it doesn't get any better than that. Now, tell us a little bit about your phone number and how people would reach y'all.
So our phone number is 706-896-2835. And you can do that. We also have a website, lakeshatugmarina.com. And you can call us and rent. And you can rent a boat online as well on the internet. And it'll be sitting down there when you get here.
Oh, it's exciting. This really is, truly. I don't know if I'm going to be able to work next week, guys. I may need to take about 3 days of a vacation.
Oh, okay.
I may have to do a staycation. I may have to do a staycation. And come here now, what months of the year are you open? What time is best to call?
Best to call from May till about September, because that's our busiest time. The water will be up normal where it is now, and there'll be people down on the dock the whole time. We rent boats as early as April through like October, but the weather's not quite as warm yet. But May through September is perfect up here.
Now, do people, one thing I haven't seen on this lake, do people ski on this lake?
They do.
Okay, because we haven't seen that today, but of course it's a quiet day because it's on a Monday. So, yeah. Now, as a kid, did you attend the Georgia Mountain Fair?
I did.
Do you remember some of the first people you saw there as far as concerts? Do you remember any of the concerts?
Not really any of the concerts. I don't go to many of those. We do come out on the lake a lot, and was parked down below the concert venue, and if the doors are open, you can hear it very well. I've been doing that a lot.
Yeah. Well, this is, honestly, Towns County, and we talk about this all the time. Towns County welcomes people from different nationalities, from every state in the union, and I've interviewed people who have been coming here over 30-something years. Every single year they come and they say, hey, we have to go to the Georgia Mountain Fair. It's an important part of Georgia economy because people stop. If they're coming out of Florida, they start spending money all the way up through Georgia until they get to Towns County when they arrive at the Georgia Mountain Fair. So the Georgia Mountain Fair means a lot to a lot of people, and it helps the economy of the whole state of Georgia.
It does.
And I don't think people really realize that, because you think about gas stations, restaurants. It's just like us when we stopped at that KFC. What town were we in, guys? Blairsville. It was busy. And it was the only KFC within any radius that we could stop at, because we had to have the Colonel on the boat. That's just part of Southern tradition. You get you a bucket of fried chicken and you go to the lake. And what better lake than Lake Chatug?
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Me neither. No. And you know what's so beautiful? The water today is absolutely gorgeous. It almost looks like you colored the water because you knew we were coming. It's so pretty. Now tell me about this pontoon, because this is a beautiful one.
So this pontoon right here is a 2023 Sunchaser Eclipse. It's a 24-foot boat that's rated for 13 people. This one in particular is powered by Yamaha 150 horse outboard. We also have 175 horse outboards that are available. And they're very nice. We keep them in brand new shape. When these get at the end of this year, the 2023 models will be sold off.
Wow.
More 2025.
Wow, and it looks brand new. It absolutely looks brand new. This is crazy. Now, and tell folks it's about what, $4.95 a day?
That's around that. Gas, whatever you burn, you'll have to pay for that. So you could realistically, $550 a day, that should cover everything, if not a little less.
Yeah, that is incredible. That is so awesome. And what a way to bring your family. And you talk about a place where you can park out in the middle of the lake. The kids can jump off and go swim. And tell me the depth of the lake in different areas.
In different areas, right now where we sit, it's 47 feet. Over there closer to the dam, it'll get over 100 foot. Also, there are places that get shallow, little sandbars you can go to that get down to 5, 10, 15 feet. Just, it's varying for whatever you prefer.
And one of the great things about your boats is they come fully equipped, so you know what the depth is. You know to watch and to guide the boat accordingly.
That's right. All of our boats are hooked up with a GPS. Shows you where you're at on the lake. It shows your depth, and it also highlights water that might be too shallow to drive in. That's all highlighted on the GPS, so you can watch that and not really worry about tearing anything up.
There you go. Now, you know something, we hadn't talked about fishing on this lake. Are there fish in this lake?
There are fish in this lake. There's a lot of bass fishermen out on this lake. Also, a lot of people fish off the dock for little bluegills and bass and catfish as well. There's a lot of that.
What's the biggest catfish you ever saw come out of here?
Probably a little over 3 foot.
Wow. So that's about a 30-footer. I mean, a 30-pounder.
30-footer, yeah.
30-footer, yay. That's almost as big as the boat. So what about when people come here to stay, do they then get addicted and they come and buy a second home?
They do.
You find most people visit and then they just can't wait to get back?
Yep, they do.
Yeah.
Especially with the boat rentals. Everybody's telling us now, well, we were here last year and we loved it. We're coming back.
Yeah, that's incredible. It is so beautiful. It is so pretty. And you know, when Hilda and I talk about the Georgia Mountain Fair, we always try to include everything that's around here. And never once did we think about coming out on a boat. And then the other day, I guess I told y'all, wouldn't it be cool if we could go out on a boat when we were videoing the dock? Yeah. And it just made sense, because this is another part of me that I'd never shared with our viewers, because I'd never done it. And so now, everybody, I'm going to tell y'all, save your lunch money. Don't go anywhere and waste a dime and spend it on a boat. And that's a daycation. It's a daycation. And this boat holds 13. Where's the kitchen?
Well, we don't have a kitchen. There are.
What are we going to do? That's why we stopped at KFC. There's the kitchen. There's the kitchen. Yay.
There's a couple restaurants on the lake as well.
Where you can park the boat and go to?
You can park the boat and go. There's a couple restaurants and a couple bars that you can go to.
Yeah. Look at that. Now, they look like they're having fun.
Yeah, they do.
You know, it would be fun if the boys threw me overboard, but it would be really hard.
Oh, that's your cue now.
Yeah. Well, this is a wonderful way to spend a day, and I hope that we've encouraged y'all. You know, we tell everybody, you can smoke, you can drink, you can do whatever it takes to calm your nerves. Let me tell you, this is what it takes to calm my nerves. A day on Lake Chatuge. This will do it for you, and I hope that you will pick up the phone and call these guys and book yourself a boat and come up to the Georgia Mountain Fair. Now, we're going to go back to the fairgrounds in just a little bit, and we hope that you will spend some time getting to know the Georgia Mountain Fair and the beautiful area known as Hiwassee.
Smoky Mountain memories by my home in Tennessee. Memories keep calling me home. Mountains rising in my soul, higher than the dreams I've known. Misty-eyed they cling to me by Smoky Mountain memories. An old gray man with a dog asleep at his feet plays a worn-out fiddle full of melodies. He smiled with his eyes, but the lines on his face told me more than the tunes he played. Talking about my Smoky Mountain memories, pretty girl from Tennessee. I was such a fool to leave her all alone. nothing left for me but my Smoky Mountain memories. Smoky Mountain memories about my home in Tennessee. Memories keep calling me home. Mountains rising in my soul, higher than the dreams I've known. I can't get away from all my Smoky Mountain memories. Talking about my Smoky Mountain
And the song goes out to everybody in the Carolinas, everybody in Georgia, Tennessee, fighting the battle, trying to get control of all the problems that have happened, and sadly still recovering bodies, still finding out, are your loved ones survived? Have things, you know, we don't know. There are still so many things that aren't answered. So that song, Smoky Mountain Memories, there will be many of you who will say, hey, I've been to Asheville, I've been to vacation there, I've been to Waynesville and eaten at Clyde's restaurant. Many of us will have amazing memories there, but you know what? The folks that were up there and lost everything, all the water took their stuff, all the water sometimes took their family members, but it can't take their memories. So I hope that the memories will remain in their heart and that we will continue as the church, as God's people, to show up and to help them. They are facing cold temperatures coming, and I hope that the next round of things that we send will be blankets and sweatshirts and hoodies and things to keep them warm, because after all, there but for the grace of God go you and I. That storm was destined to hit. It was a direct path right to where we all live, and by the grace of God or whatever, I don't know what happened, but it turned. Now we have another storm coming into Florida, and we have to please get together. My brother-in-law and my niece and my great-niece and great-nephew are down there, and my friend Shirley's daughter Denise is down there. They are right in the direct hit of this other storm. So please pray that they get through this. There's a lot going to happen in Florida tomorrow. So start your prayers now, and get yourself on the what can I do list. What can I do? What can I do to do something for somebody else? We're going to share a little bit of what Jackie did for us at the end of yesterday's program, because Jackie can play the piano, and I said, why don't you sit down and play a little bit? So here we go. about that music? You know, one of them, I'll Fly Away, we did at my mom's funeral. He touched me. How appropriate to think about the place we're in America, because he is touching.
Yep.
He is
Yes.
touching.
Yes.
Everywhere
Yep.
we go, he is
Yep.
touching souls.
Yep.
He is touching hearts, and he is bringing hope.
Yes.
And so, Jackie, thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you.
That was
Thank
an
you.
amazing.
Beautiful.
That was great, and there's a mansion waiting for all of us.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes,
thank you
that's
so
for
much.
sure.
And we want to invite y'all to come to Carter K Baptist.
Yes, Carter K Baptist, 11 a.m. on Sundays. Yep.
There you go. Come out and hear some of that music that reminds us, you know, the old words, the old songs, the old book. It's still true today.
Yep.
It's
Oh,
still
yes.
true
Oh,
today.
yes.
So yeah, come out and again visit Carter K.
Amen.
There you go. Thanks for being here,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.